All right, happy Friday. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. Hope all of you out there are gearing up to have an awesome and fantastic weekend. We're going to begin today's show with an Andre Dillard injury update Thursday at practice. This happened right after our show about Trey Sermon yesterday. Check that out in case you missed it. Suffered a non-displaced fracture in his forearm. So we'll give you an update on that, what it means for this football team. Also on today's show, Eagles announcing their team captains. Davion Taylor back to the Birds on the practice squad. And if you watched the entire show yesterday, I wrapped a little bit of dreams and nightmares. A lot of people liked it. So at the end of the show, more Philly rap talk. First, though, today, we're going to hit 32,000 subscribers, and I took over the channel last week. I told you, by week 1, we wanted to get to that number to honor, let's say, Ricky Waters. So, because we're going to get there in advance, and because the response has been so great, and I appreciate all of your support of the show, I want you to clap it up in the comment section, Bird Gang. I appreciate all the real ones for subbing. You want a shirt like this, merchandise tab right below the video. Comment, Fly Eagles Fly. Give me some clapping emojis. Give me some Eagles emojis. And of course, if you want to type real one, you can do that as well. Appreciate all the support. Let's celebrate, but let's keep it moving. 50,000 subs is the goal by the end of the 2022 season. Hopefully, we're talking about an Eagles Super Bowl championship. All right, Andre Dillard injury news. What is it? What does it mean? What does it do for his trade value? I know a lot of you are tired of those rumors, but I'll tell you why they're actually real. Non-displaced fracture in his forearm, not believed to be season-ending. He is going to undergo further testing probably today to determine if surgery is needed. The good news, not expected to be season-ending. What to watch out for? Does he go on IR? And if that's the case, he misses the first 4 games of the season, and the Birds are without one of the better backup left tackles in the National Football League, a guy who has starting capabilities, really improved last year after a rocky start to his entire NFL career, and he's Jordan Mailata's backup, so obviously if the Australian bomber goes down, then that's a little bit of a problem for this offensive line. There's also this from Ian Rappaport, which ties in some of the trade rumors, some of the trade discussions, a reason why Andre Dillard has been talked about as a trade candidate. He's very valuable at a very valuable position. So Rappaport basically echoing what I've been saying, that other teams were interested in Andre Dillard, and you can see why, because of his value to a different team out there, because we know he has value as a tackle depth piece on this Eagles roster. The Eagles had plenty of chances to trade their former first-round pick, Andre Dillard, both earlier this offseason and this week as we approached the 53-man roster cutdown date. They held on to him for the great depth that he provides, and now he's on the shelf to start the season. Again, we'll see how long he is on the shelf to start the season. And here's the thing about trade rumors in the NFL. A lot of people get fatigued by it in the comment section, but people often complain about these rumors when at the same time, these conversations that we discuss and relay to you on the show happen and transpire within front offices. Why? Because you have to look at this from a couple of angles with Andre Dillard, considering the value that he has as a backup left tackle and potential starter for another team that might try to trade for him, or the Eagles who might try to get some compensation back, whether it be a player or a draft choice. Andre Dillard has an injury history, as we know. He's entering the final year of his deal. So Howie Roseman and this Eagles front office, they're having these conversations. Should we try to get really premium value back if it's, say, a first-round pick or a second-round pick from a desperate team that needs a starting tackle, like, let's say, the Dallas Cowboys, for a guy who will leave? Now, sometimes these conversations don't end up in trading Andre Dillard, but they happen, and that's why we discuss them, and that's why oftentimes we're ahead of the ball. And with Dillard's injury history, he's going to be a free agent this upcoming offseason. He's in the final year of his rookie deal. He's not going to start unless Jordan Mailata suffers a serious injury. He's going to leave. So do the Eagles want to get some value back? Now, they probably can't, and I've said I would hold on to him because I like that tackle depth, but missed 2020 because of a torn biceps. Training camp earlier this offseason, missed some time because of concussion issues, and now it's a forearm fracture. At the same time as Andre Dillard being a good trade candidate, offensive line depth is really important. And if you're thin along the offensive line, it affects your pass game. It affects your run game. And that can totally derail your season. A season in this case for Philadelphia where they have a Super Bowl capable loaded roster on both sides of the ball with high-end premium players as well as really good depth pieces, and you don't want to have that chance come to a reality in which an injury, or if you're thin at a really important position, does derail your season when you have Super Bowl aspirations. Before we continue to keep it moving on the show, EA Sports, it's in the game. I want you to get in the game. The real ones know all about that anthem, Madden back in the early 2000s. Great Andre Dillard as a player on the Madden scale. Where do you think he is on a scale of 1 to 100? Coming up next on the show, Davion Taylor, he was let go by Philadelphia. He passed through waivers. Now he's back on the practice squad. Can the Eagles expect anything from a former third-round pick? Also, Birds, Nick Sirianni naming their team captains. First, though, last night on Thursday, I was sitting on my couch. I was also out at a popular bar in Dallas, happiest hour with some coworkers here. It was great to watch some legit college football. Penn State against Purdue coming down to the end. Sean Clifford with that really clutch drive. He looked up and down and rocky before that, but what a finish for Penn State. And then that West Virginia Pitt game was absolutely bonkers, and there's a couple of really good games coming up this weekend as the college football season kicks off. And if you're an Eagles fan, maybe you're a college football fan, if that's the case, Eagles country, let's fly. Notre Dame, Ohio State, taking place on Saturday. Over under 59. Favorite, Ohio State at -17. Coop, do you like Notre Dame to potentially cover this big number? No, you think the Fighting Irish are going to get blown out? So there you go. It's kind of a sneaky number there, in my opinion, at -17, obviously, for the Fighting Irish at +17. And how about Temple University, Philadelphia's own, right? Going up against Duke to kick off the Stan Drayton era. They are 9.5-point underdogs on the road against the Duke Blue Devils. Shout out to everybody who went to Temple, by the way. You're a real one as well. Class of 2015 coming at you. I'm talking about these college football betting odds because today's show, sponsored to you and brought to you by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Start getting those bets in with the football season for college already here, NFL regular season coming up around the corner with the best deal that any sportsbook has to offer. It's chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Promo code Eagles125 for a 125% deposit bonus. You put in $100, let's say, you get an additional $125 back, $225 to game with for this upcoming football season. To the Eagles team captains now, Nick Sirianni naming them, and not many surprises here. Jalen Hurts, it's pretty wild that a couple of years ago he gets drafted. He's the backup behind Carson Wentz, and the Eagles sign him to that big deal, and they say, this is Carson Wentz's team. Well, what do you know? A couple years later, he's fledgling in this league, and Jalen Hurts is really playing well, and he's the starter and a team captain. So Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, some of the captains, and then Fletcher Cox, Darius Slay, and Jake Elliott rounding out the Philadelphia Eagles team captains for this upcoming season. You know, I always see Jake Elliott, and I think back to that 61-yard game-winning field goal against the New York Giants that really started that run in the 2017 season en route to the Super Bowl, taking down Tom Brady and the Patriots. Type F the Pats, and Merrill Reed's, it's good! Fantastic, man. We've had so many of those over the years. So because those are the Eagles team captains, what I want you to do right now, name your favorite Eagle of all time. I kind of want to see where the age demographic is here on Philadelphia Eagles now, because I know we have some old timers and some OGs, and we got some young bulls as well. So get those Jones in the comments section. As for Davion Taylor, that wasn't forced. It came so natural. Eagles signing the former 2020 third-round pick out of Colorado to the practice squad. So he does come back. He claims he goes through waivers, and the Eagles basically claim him back. And it's been a disappointing start to his career for Davion Taylor for a couple of reasons. You think about him as a prospect, right? Third-round guy out of Colorado, and the idea of a guy who's 6 foot at that linebacking spot, 228 pounds, with offenses spreading out, having all of these different versatile and explosive athletes. You kind of want a linebacker in that athletic prototype to stick with some of those slot receivers, outside receivers, running backs on the wheel routes, and those huge tight ends. And the idea of a guy who's 6 foot, 228 pounds, who ran a sub-4.5 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine sounds great. But you can't just be an athlete and thrive in this league, especially at that linebacker spot. You have to have early diagnosing skills. You have to have good instincts. You have to be a good and consistent tackler. You can't just fly around because opposing offenses are going to see that you lack in that football IQ standpoint, and they're going to get you caught up on a crossing route. You're going to get burned, and if you combine that with the fact that you're missing tackles, lacking effort like Davion Taylor did on that Josh Dobbs long run in the preseason, your ass is going to get cut. And you're not going to end up being a good player. And for this Eagles team, they've upgraded at this linebacking spot, finally, as Howie Roseman has finally invested in this position. And that left Davion Taylor on the outside looking in because his play just wasn't worth it to make the 53-man roster. Now, the continued development of him makes him somewhat intriguing, but take a look at this Eagles linebacking core. I know Hassan Reddick is going to be a combo edge rusher linebacker, but still, he adds to this unit. Kyron Johnson, Patrick Johnson as backups. Nakobe Dean is a backup. Bradley, the former Temple homie, also as a backup as well. And then TJ Edwards, Kaiser White. Like, that is a really good linebacking core as compared to what we used to see from this team and the lack of resources devoted to that position as it went completely neglected on this roster by Howie Roseman. Now, I do have to give Howie Roseman some credit because let's give credit where it's due. Linebacker has been neglected for a really long time, but as you saw with Davion Taylor not even making this team and the depth and the quality of play at that linebacking spot, he's solved one of the weaknesses, and that is what your job is to do as the head of the football operations department. Lastly on the show, and we're going to have some fun here. Want to chop it up with all of you in the comments section. To all my Philly Bulls out there, if you watched the whole show yesterday, you heard me chase down a rap bar from Meek Mill and spit a little dreams and nightmares. I used to grind like this to shine like this, so I had to. What was it again? I used to grind like this to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that to shine like this. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. It kind of escaped me for a second. It is a catchy start to the song from Meek, as that was the Super Bowl anthem back in the day. But if you heard me rap those bars from Dreams and Nightmares, I want you now to name your favorite Philly rapper in the comment section. Now, these are some of the Philly rapper OGs here that I want to run through. You can comment one of these guys, or you can go with somebody else who is kind of one of those sneaky rappers, like Gilly the Kid, who I'm not passing along here. So we showed you Meek Mill. Will Smith, I guess, can be a Philly rapper. He started in Philly, and then he went out to Los Angeles, so kind of a hybrid there, but he's technically a Philly dude, and he reps the 215. Cassidy, way back in the day, Every Day I'm Hustling, that's an OG song. Beanie Siegel, I Can Feel It in the Air, that's one of the all-time Philly classics. And then Freeway, he had a couple of good solo hits, but then also, like, he was a really good feature artist as well. Beanie Siegel, Freeway, they were like sneakily doing songs with Jay-Z when Jay-Z was at the peak of his powers. So that right there is certainly respect. So name your favorite Philly rapper in the comments section. And as always, appreciate all the interaction. Appreciate you all for getting us to 32,000 subs. You can expect videos coming over the weekend. And as always, fly, Eagles, fly.